Hey everyone, it's Jeremy Osterberger. We're here at the Gulf Coast Industry Forum. I'm very happy to be joined by Dan Patrick, Lieutenant Governor of the state of Texas. Mr. Patrick, how are you, sir?
I'm great. It's Dan, or Lieutenant Dan. That's
All right,
that's good.
Lieutenant
Dan's
Dan.
good. Dan's good.
Fantastic. I kind of like Lieutenant Dan. That works.
Lieutenant Dan.
Well, Lieutenant Dan. So, look, a lot talked about today at the Gulf Coast Industry Forum.
Yeah.
I want to dig into that Texas grid. And where are we at with the grid, Lieutenant Governor? And where do we need to go?
As I shared with the audience here today, we have about 85,000 megawatts of power. We were told that we would need about 110,000 megawatts of power in 6 years by 2030. Now that number has changed by ERCOT to 150,000 megawatts, meaning you almost have to double what we have. You can't build it all that fast because it takes 3 or 4 years just getting steel on the ground to build it, so you have to start now. And the good news is we put a program together where we're loaning billions of dollars, up to $10 billion, to companies that want to build natural gas plants. It's a program where we give you a loan for 20 years at 3%, a completion bonus if you do it on time, and then an abatement on property taxes. We had people sign up if we had enough money for $39 billion of projects. So we're going to put more money into that as we come back, but 10 was a lot. The issue is, and the reason I say we can't get that fast, because it takes 3 or 4 years to build a plant and get it up and running. You got to go through the permits and building, and we do it faster than anyone else in the country or the world for that matter, but it still takes some time. Our issue is, as Republicans, we're not anti-renewables, but we're not for the Green New Deal either, because we can't live in a society where we depend on only renewables, which are wind and solar. And Texas, over the last 20 years, built more wind and solar. We're number 5 in the world in wind than anyone in the country. So right now, about 60% of our 85,000 watts are renewables. We have to have enough dispatchable, which is natural gas or coal or nuclear, and you can't really build those anymore, at least not in time. We have to build natural gas plants, which we have plenty of. It's cheap, because we have to have enough dispatchable so that I don't care if the wind's not blowing or if it's dark in the wintertime, that your lights come on. And that's what we have to do, and that is my number one priority of the session. We have a lot of important things we have to do. School choice would be one, but in terms of the economy, for every person who lives in a home, an apartment, or has a business, the lights have to come on.
Dan, I want to give you the chance to cover some other things that are legislative priorities for you in the next session.
Yeah. So school choice, I've passed it 5 times out of the Senate. Last session, we finally got a vote in the House, and it was voted down by a handful of votes. I said to the governor, I hope he makes it. He can we can't pass a bill until the 60th day when we get there in January under the Constitution, because you have to have your committees and get it prepared for your bills. But he can have emergency items, and we can take those up immediately. We will be ready to go on day 1 to pass school choice. It's universal. Half of the Democrat families want it. 65% of independents want it. Over 80% of Republicans want it. Every parent should have a right to have their child in the school of their choice. And across the country, by the way, where you have it, Jeremy, it's only about 3% or 4% of families that take it up, because most parents are okay with their school. Kids don't want to leave their friends, but you have a variety of reasons why a school doesn't fit a child. And it takes no money away. The teacher union said it takes money away. It does not. No money away from public education. Don't believe those stories that the union tells you. Our budget for education, Jeremy, this past that we're in now, $39 billion for public education. It was 500,000, a little less, for public school, for school choice, for private school choice. So 39 billion, 500,000 for school choice. Those, they don't even compare. So it takes nothing away from public education. It's just giving parents a choice.
Dan, any other legislative priorities you want to mention today?
We want to give teachers pay raise. I passed the biggest teacher pay raise in 19 out of the Senate. We passed another one last time. It didn't get through the House. We want to get teachers. Teaching in public schools should be a profession, not a job, and they need to be paid like professionals. And then, of course, we continue to reduce property taxes. We pushed through out of the Senate the $100,000 homestead exemption. Everyone's school taxes now are down about 40%. People get confused. In the old days, whenever your appraisal went up in the spring, Jeremy, your tax bill went up. We stopped that in 19. You want your appraisal to go up, by the way, because you want your house to sell more than you paid for it. But we broke that bond between appraisal and your tax bill. So now 99% of the time, the appraisals don't factor. Just look at your bill in November, and if you go back 3 years, you'll see your school taxes are down about 40%, even though your appraisals are up. So that's what our goal is, continue to do that.
I'm going to flip over to industry, Dan.
Sure.
Permitting seems to be such a priority.
Yes.
Federal level, state level. Man, what can we do in the state of Texas to help our industry out on permitting?
Yeah, so we're the fastest. For example, if you go back to building a natural gas plant, we can get it done, in less than a year. Most to finally get it through. Most other states are 6 and 7, 8 years. So that means we can build the plants faster. Look, a lot of the federal red tape we can't control. We can just fight back. And hopefully if we have the right government in Texas that wants to be, cut back red tape and let businesses grow, that would be helpful. And then on the local side, it's cities and counties, and we don't control that either. But from the state, we always need to do better. And so, because we want business to grow. Look, we're the fastest growing place on the planet. We have a $2 trillion economy. 12 million people have moved here in the last 23 years. We're 30 million people. We are the most economically sound state in the country. We have more, Jeremy, we have $25 billion in our reserve fund. That's more than all the other states combined except Alaska, who has a lot of oil money and very few people. So we're doing it right, but every day we have to make sure we keep doing it right. It's not what you did like a football coach. It's not what you did last year. What are you going to do this year?
Let's talk about what you said on stage I thought was interesting, and that was we have so much invested in the state of Texas from advanced technology, data centers, semiconductors. Talk about what you said on the stage, though. Where do they need to get their power?
They need to have advanced contracts for their power. Look, AI is with us to stay. And as I said on the stage today to the audience, when you search now something online, whatever that power you're using up, because it's using some power that eventually, a little tiny bit, but it's going to multiply it by 5 times because there's so much information you're going to get. So AI is kind of the genie out of the bottle. But the data centers, we just can't be the Wild West for anyone that wants to come here and build a data center. I gave the example, I think it's in Wilmer, Texas, south of Dallas, about 7,000 people. They want to be a data center hub. They will use more power out of those data centers in the city of 7,000 than almost the whole city of Austin. So you can't have that. You can't have it sucking all this power off. We can build all we want. So we just want to, but we can't keep up with that. So we want data centers to come here, but you need to make a contract with someone to supply your power. And if you do that, fine. And the crypto miners, they're making more money now selling power back because a lot of companies can't turn off. They're 24/7. If you shut them down, it's a massive startup. But crypto miners can turn off at any time. So I gave the example today. There was one company north of Austin with thousands and thousands of servers. They made $8 million last year on crypto mining, and they made $32 million selling our power back to the grid. That's just, we can't have that. So we want to be pro everything, but you have to, you have to come in and supply your own power by having contracts.
Every state's navigating this. It's
Yeah.
going to be interesting to see how
How
other states navigate this is going to be really interesting. Lieutenant Governor, we thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you being here at the Gulf Coast Industry Forum, and thank you for visiting with BIC Magazine.